Halls of Mercy. Fade in, exterior sunrise riverbank. Bird song, the sound of waves lapping. A man is sitting on a bench, head bowed, eyes closed. He's dressed in a suit. He continues to meditate as interior broadcast studio morning. It is one of those relentless morning news programs. Two hosts are chatting brightly about the weather, sports results, and the latest celebrity gossip. Exterior, armored police van, morning. Van is traveling through various roadways with 3 occupants. 2 are armed. Exterior, riverbank, a few minutes later. The man opens his eyes, cocks his head, listens to the sound of the calm natural world. He gets up, a little creaky. Slowly, he makes his way up a path. Gradually, the sounds of the city are heard. Interior, broadcast, studio, morning. The 2 anchors turn to a new camera. As they narrate, photos and B-roll play behind them, showing elements of the story.
And in other news, today is the day that the well-known activist Pastor James Starling begins his 18-month sentence for tax evasion.
This follows a lengthy trial of the 62-year-old minister whose finances came under suspicion by government agencies.
James Starling was arrested last year for financial malfeasance and tax fraud. The financial records of his ministry were the basis of the government's case, despite constitutional issues involved.
Nevertheless, the jury decided with the prosecution, convicting James Starling of tax evasion.
But the biggest twist in the case took place after the conviction, during the sentencing hearing. Government lawyers offered community service in lieu of incarceration.
Instead of sitting out his 18 months in one of the so-called country club prisons, the prosecution asked that he spend the time working in an inner city school.
And now, Melinda Dixon is on site at that school reporting live. Melinda?
Mercer High School, where I'm standing, has been called no mercy by the local community. It leads the city in violent incidents as well as vandalism. It has some of the lowest academic results in the city. Gangs are rampant, and the lunchroom has been the scene of several killings.
Sounds serious, Melinda.
It is. Broken lockers, burned out classrooms, a library without books, and metal detectors on every door.
Got their wish. James Starling won't be serving out his time in a country club prison.
No, he'll be here in no mercy.
And in other news, Senator Randall Kingman spoke out today about aging infrastructure. Meeting with other national and international leaders, he said that investment today will bring dividends in the future.
The audio trails off. Interior, armored police van. James Starling is now occupying the 4th seat in the van. He is handcuffed, sitting quietly. The front seat passenger is muttering into a radio phone.
Yes, we are en route. You want him processed first, right? Right. And then to school. Copy. He's got to be stripped and x-rayed. Also, they want him in prison uniform.
Go to a school? Isn't he going to live on site?
Yeah, but they want to make sure everyone knows who he is.
First time for me.
Interior, corrections facility. The security team bring in James Starling in his suit. He is put through a series of security checks, metal detectors, made to strip behind a screen. There is an X-ray machine, and he has to have a full body scan. He is given some oversized jumpsuit. His shoes are taken away. He is given cheap sneakers with Velcro. His watch, ring, and pen are inventoried and put into an envelope. A doctor checks him for heart, respiration, blood pressure, etc. At the end, he stands as a figure of ridicule. He is cuffed again and stands in a too large jumpsuit, floppy shoes, without socks, and prison underwear. His name is stenciled on the pocket, James Starling 74925. Into the room, a small contingent is ushered. The warden, a security officer, and the assistant U.S. attorney, Angela Brand, are there.
All right, let's get this started. James Starling, you have been convicted of a federal offense with a sentence of 18 months. Since this is your first offense, and since you have been active in working with youth, the Assistant U.S. Attorney, Angela Brand, has recommended leniency in sentencing. You will therefore serve your full sentence working in the public school system of the city. The terms of your sentence are not to be abrogated, however, or you will be put in a high security facility at an incorrigible offender. You will be accompanied at all times by an armed security guard who will report on your behavior. Any attempt by you to engage in serendipitous activities will be cause for punitive measures. As this is a public school facility, you are forbidden to speak about any scripture, deity, or tenet of faith whatsoever. Further, you are forbidden to engage in violence. You are to perform whatever duties are assigned to you. You will eat the food served in the school, and during the night, you will be housed in an on-site secure apartment. You will be allowed one phone call per day, a privilege that will be taken away if there is any accusation made against you. You will be monitored and directed by the school's principal, this office, and the security personnel who will be watching you. Any questions?
No, sir. I understand.
Good. Sign here. Your security guards will transport you to the school and will ensure that you do not engage in any activities described here.
They signal for the door to be opened for them to leave. The Assistant U.S. Attorney, Angela Brand, separates from the group, comes over to James Starling, and stands a minute. She seems uncomfortable, but compelled to say something.
Don't worry. You did the best you could.
I suggested community service, but they turned into something else.
I know.
I'll try to do what I can.
Be well.
Assistant U.S. Attorney Angela Brand ducks her head, walks to the door, looks back, and then exits. Interior, day, school entrance. The same armored vehicle drives up to the sidewalk, and the guards get James Starling out in his droopy jumpsuit and his handcuffs. They lead him into the school, with the reporters and some community folks around, angry and gesturing at him. The reporters try to shove microphones in his face, but he just smiles and shakes his head no. Interior, day, principal's office. As James Starling is ushered in, the Principal Alicia Stern, looks up, tapping her pen. She is unexpressive, eyes hooded, mouth tight. She gestures to some chairs.
Sit.
James Starling pauses, looks to security guards. They nod. He sits, looks again, and they also sit.
So you're James Starling.
Yes, ma'am.
Cut the crap. I'm not your Boy Scout leader.
How do you prefer I address you?
Just as little as possible. Preferably just yes or no.
Yes.
Look, I don't like you. I didn't ask for this job. My job is bad enough without having to deal with some felon wandering around my halls. They tell me you're not allowed to spout your religious crap here. Also, you're under my direct orders. I can give you any job. You have to do it, or you're out. You understand?
Yes.
I can't protect you. I have my hands full trying to keep kids from killing each other and maybe once in a while cracking a book. How old are you?
62.
You look younger. Never mind. I'm putting you on janitorial duty for now. You'll work under the building staff. Your hours are 6:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. There's a room with a cot next to the boiler room, with a bathroom down the hall. We put a microwave there and a few supplies. There's a blanket and some hooks to hang your clothes. That's all the corrections department asked for. That's where you'll stay.
Thank you.
I will be getting reports from everyone, just so we're clear. I'm hoping you will do something wrong so I can get you the hell out of my school. You understand?
Yes.
One of you will be with him all the time.
Yes, ma'am. We're on 12-hour shifts and we'll rotate.
Just keep him away from my students.
They nod. She stands up. They stand and usher James Starling out. She glowers at the retreating backs and strides to the window, staring out. Interior, school hallway, day. A janitor is opening the tool closet, showing James Starling the mops, buckets, and cleansers. He points vaguely around, walks outside to have a smoke. Interior, school hall. The guards are escorting him down a filthy, much vandalized hall. Trash is in every corner. Graffiti is everywhere. Lockers are broken, dented in, or standing open, with a few having multiple locks on them. Interior, school cafeteria. They walk through the cafeteria. Tables are scattered randomly, some tilted, chairs are broken, large dried puddles on the floors, walls stained with old food spills. Interior, basement, hallway. They are walking through a dimly lit hallway where old furniture and broken equipment is lining every wall. They pause in front of one room and one guard fumbles for a key. Inside, we see a storage room. On one side is a cot with a mattress, sheets, and blankets, a flat pillow. An old teacher's desk is in another corner. A small electric microwave and tiny fridge are on top. The security guards walk him down the hall to a simple toilet with a very decrepit shower. He looks around, nods, and thanks them. Interior, James Starling's room, night. James Starling sits on the makeshift cot, lies down, closes his eyes. Flashback, interior, hospital room, day. James Starling is sitting by the side of a bed where his wife, Jacinta Starling, lies, tubes and wires connecting her to various machines. She is weary, so is he.
James, what's happening with that investigation?
I've been too busy here to notice.
Did they say what they're looking for?
No. So they wanted to look at our books. I gave them access to all our files.
No search warrant, subpoena?
No, nothing.
Nothing to hide. That's you, babe. Nothing to hide.
Easier than trying to remember a lie, right?
How's Matthew?
He's settling in. Senses low.
Second generation Peace Corps. Who'd have thought?
Well, you and I both survived it, right?
Yep, but on different continents.
Well, he's tough. He'll make us both look like weaklings.
Maybe you, not me.
How are you feeling? Any change?
Nothing new to report, sir.
Nothing to report. Nothing to hide. We're a pair, huh?
Exterior hospital grounds, day. James Starling is walking out, dazed. Seeing a bench, he sits down, takes out his phone, hesitating, then punches a name, Matthew Starling.
Hello? Son. Matthew Starling. You awake?
Yeah, sure. No, what's up?
She's gone, Maddie. She's gone. Mom's gone.
What? What happened?
Complications. Blood clot. No warning.
Camera pulls away as we see him clutching the phone to his ear, shoulders shaking silently. Fade back to present. Interior, James Starling's room, dark. James Starling is lying on his cot alone. He turns over to sleep, sadness on his face. Interior, elegant dining room, evening. A few men have just finished a nice meal. Their plates are still in front of them. It's an elegant home, and the host is passing around a box of cigars. They all take one, noticing the fine quality, and light up. They have snifters of brandy in front of them, and there is a relaxed atmosphere.
Did you see the news coverage of the James Starling case this morning?
Ugh, he's toast.
Why do you say that?
Please, that school was handpicked. Between the gangs, the principal, and his own stupidity, he'll be dead inside a week.
Why let him spend 18 months building his muscles in a low security lockup in the countryside with TVs and visiting hours and plenty of fresh air?
So this community service was
a stroke of genius. Whatever he does, he's dead.
It's just a matter of time. He'll piss somebody off. They'll take care of him faster and without the appeals process.
So this was intentional?
Well, let's just say that no one would be heartbroken if some incident would occur. Some unfortunate incident.
Who came up with this idea?
A few of us. I mean, this guy is a major pain. You can't let some do-gooder stick their nose where it doesn't belong.
Well, I guess he won't make that mistake again.
You got that right.
Prendergast holds hand out for a high five, but Watson has walked away, so he lets it fall unslapped. Interior, James Starling's room dark. Shot of alarm clock going off 4 a.m. Starling wakes up. Interior, school hallway. 3 cafeteria ladies, including Mrs. Mickens, are walking down the hallway, pushing the doors open to the cafeteria. A shot of the clock on the wall shows it's 6 a.m. They open the double doors and stop inside the door, frozen. The room is transformed. The floors and walls are clean. The tables are lined up and clean. The broken chairs and tables are in a corner, piled on a dolly. James Starling is getting ready to wheel this out of the doorway. They all turn as he leaves, looking at him in astonishment. Interior, school, hallway, day. A long shot from the floor level of the filthy hallway stretching out to infinity. At the far end of the hall, we see James Starling begin to work. Interior, school, hallway, day. Students are milling around in the hall. As they see James Starling, a number of them deliberately engage in obstructive or insulting behaviors. They bump him, kick his mop, throw trash down right in front of him. The security guard watches this all without interfering. Starling works steadily, mopping the floor, scrubbing walls. Time lapse of hallway clock in the foreground, the hallway in the background. Throughout the day, he makes his way steadily up the hall. At different times, class is let out and his work is undone again. He painstakingly continues, sweeping, mopping, picking up trash. As the clock poises at 4:30, the hallway for the moment is clean. Interior, school cafeteria. Students are eating, sprawled all over the tables, posturing, etc. At the counter, the lunch ladies serve the food. These are no-nonsense ladies, grandma types. The kids have respect for these ladies who mirror the core caretakers of their own lives, especially Mrs. Mickens. Into the cafeteria comes Mr. James Starling with his security guard. He quietly waits until the end of the line. He awaits a bowl of soup, which the lady fills generously, giving him extra bread. The next lady gives him a nice sandwich. The next one heaps on extra salad. At the final station, he is offered the dessert and the drink. He carries his tray, finding a table where he and the guard sit away from each other. Some of the students try to irk him by tossing a chunk of bread at him. Mrs. Mickens sees this and walks over, planting herself in between him and the students. Brandishing her ladle, she fixes the students with a glare. They absorb the message, going back to chatting with each other. Interior school hallway night. Mr. James Starling is working on the lockers. He has several tools out and over a matter of hours, finally manages to get one locker back to working order. Interior school hallway day, months later. From the far end of the hallway, we see a far different scene. The floors are shining. The walls have been repainted. The lockers are closed, cleaned up, and seem to be back in working order. Everything seems to be tightened up. Interior Principal's Office, day. Principal Alicia Stern is staring out the window. James Starling is ushered in. She looks at him contemptuously, motions him to sit down. James Starling sits without speaking.
Well, congratulations. You've been here 2 whole months.
Yes.
The kitchen and custodial staff are pleased with your work. The place looks better.
Thank you.
I'm taking a risk here, but I'm going to put you in a classroom. Study hall monitor, detention monitor. No teaching, just monitoring them.
I thought I wasn't supposed to speak to any of the students.
You're under my direction, and I get to determine what your job tasks are. You still can't quote any Bible to them. This is just a cost-saving measure. They don't give me enough budget for substitute teachers, and this is mainly a monitor role. Don't blow it.
Interior, study hall, room, day. James Starling enters the room, which is already full of rowdy kids. They are playing music, chatting, sleeping. No one is studying. The security guard stands against the wall. The students are used to him and know he won't interfere. James Starling waits at the front of the room until the chatter dies down.
Principal Stern asked me to be a monitor of the study hall.
So you a teacher? I thought you was a prisoner.
I'm not a teacher. I'm a learner, however.
What does that mean? You, a learner?
I know how to find answers, how to approach a problem.
So what?
Well, it occurs to me that I might be able to be a resource to you.
What kind of resource?
Well, what would be helpful for you?
Can you do my homework?
Can you read us some textbooks with all the pages in?
No and no.
Well, you ain't answering the question. How are you going to be a resource? You got money?
Try this. Okay, give me an example of one area that might be a difficulty for you in your schoolwork.
Math. There's no way to get it.
Okay, what specific things make it difficult?
They use these words like axiom or hypotenuse or theorem.
Okay, so one area where I can be a resource is to help understand these kinds of words.
You can't help me. My problem is that I can't do any homework, any study, anything.
Okay, why not?
I got 5 younger kids I have to take care of while my mama works. There's no place to write, no paper, no computer, no bookshelves.
Okay, if we found you a place to work, would that help?
Yeah, but I got my sisters and brothers to watch.
Anyone else got a similar situation? Okay, how many kids do each of you watch? Hey, Sean, can you count them up?
3, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, so that's 15 younger kids needing supervision.
See, that's impossible.
Well, we don't know until we try.
Interior, classroom door detention sign. James Starling and the students replaced the sign with in-service learning sign. Interior classroom, day. High school students are seated with their younger brothers and sisters, desks grouped together doing homework. The older kids work on their own assignments, but answer questions or give tasks to the younger ones. Interior hallway, day. Several cafeteria ladies are standing outside the classroom looking in at the sight of the older and younger kids studying together. Mrs. Mickens nods significantly at the other, gestures at the cafeteria. Interior classroom, day. The cafeteria ladies knock and enter the study hall with a covered cardboard box, which they show to James Starling. He raises his eyebrows and nods. They unpack some small cartons of milk and some sandwiches, which they distribute to all the kids who are thankful. As the ladies finish, they stand back to watch the activity. James Starling shares a smile with them. Interior hallway day. The students are trickling out, older students shepherding the younger ones. Inside the room, James Starling is cleaning up the desks, gathering the trash. One of the students, Deshawn, hangs back and starts helping him. Together, they finish cleaning up the room. Exterior, tennis court, day. John Prendergast and Peter Falcon are batting a ball back and forth. An older man walks in, motions to them, walks over to the benches, sits. They stop their game, come over to join him.
So just where are we with the James Starling situation?
Last I knew, he was going into no mercy.
I heard a rumor he's keeping his nose clean, even helping those kids there.
That is not why we sent him there. The whole idea was to destroy him, not to have him start some hippie commune in there.
Look, Mr. Riggs, what are we supposed to do? He's kept to the rules.
I don't care. Rules or no rules. I want this guy out of the picture.
You want we should, put a contract on him, boss? Oh.
Look, it's not rocket science. Aren't there gangs there? Don't you guys know some people that speak their language? Tell them if they ever need a good lawyer or want a good lawyer sometime, they need to take care of this little matter.
How bad? How much damage?
Do I have to spell it out? I don't care how it happens. I want this guy out of commission, period.
Peter Falcon and John Prendergast look at each other somberly. Interior, jail conference room, day. Peter Falcon and John Prendergast are seated at a table. The guards bring in a prisoner. They confer with him, explaining something. He sits back, looks at them sourly. They keep talking. He is listening. Interior, jail hallway, day. The same prisoner is on a phone, talking and gesturing. Exterior, rundown building, day. One of the school's students, gang member MTA, answers his cell phone. He listens, looks off, looks hard. Interior, principal's office, day. Principal Alicia Stern is getting a phone call. She listens, looks out of the window.
What do you mean you're pulling the security guards? No, he hasn't been a security risk to others. He's not violent. No, he doesn't seem likely to escape. Where would he go? I just don't understand the sudden change. Look, you people came up with this whole idea. You forced it on me. You said that the safety of my school would be ensured by the security team. And now you're pulling them out. This makes no sense. If anything happens, it will make me look like I'm the bad guy. No, I'm not soft on him. I'm just tired of you people using my school as your dumping ground. Where is the funding and equipment you promised? It seems to me you're all talk. You play golf with the superintendent? What the hell does that mean? Fine, whatever. Withdraw the security guards. My hands are tied. But if anything happens, that's on you. Why did I ever give in? I've just been told you will no longer be assigned to Starling.
That doesn't sound right. We haven't gotten any new orders.
Yeah, nothing from our offices.
Don't ask me. I got a call this morning.
Something's off.
Yeah, we were told this was by court order.
I agree with you. It's a complete departure from what they had said before. What do you suggest?
Well, I think we should go and check in at our head office.
Yeah, this could be a glitch, a clerical error.
Okay, let me know. The guy who called me was very insistent.
They stand, mutter to each other, and gesture a goodbye to him. Interior, outside in the hall, day. The security guards confer briefly. Vince Davis leaves. William Dare walks down the hall to the study hall, pops his head in, and signals Starling to come out to the hallway. Interior hallway, day. James Starling comes out, closing the door behind him.
Listen, the principal just told us that we're being pulled off this detail.
Really? No one mentioned anything to me.
Yeah, and we never got any notice of this. No written orders, none of the usual procedures.
But you're here to make sure I don't do anything wrong, right? Isn't that correct?
Yeah, but also if we're here, no one would try anything, you know?
I see. With you gone, I'm on my own.
Yeah, principal didn't like it either. I could tell. It seems like she was getting pressured.
Makes sense.
Anyway, I'll stick around till my shift ends at noon. My partner's on his way to our office trying to find out if this is legit. And I just wanted to give you the heads up and tell you to be careful.
Thanks.
About to go back in, but the guard stops him, hands him a bag, looking at it significantly. James Starling opens it, registers what it is, and nods. Interior lunchroom day. Music plays and the action unfolds without audio. Some of the action is slowed down, others are at normal speed. The cafeteria is full, a few teachers bored and inattentive monitoring. James Starling sits off to one side, his usual table, noticeably without any security guard. The gang members walk in, taking prearranged positions around the room. Two take up seats near James Starling. One goes over and stands by the lunch lady, Mrs. Mickens, who is cutting sandwiches with a large knife. Three others load up their trays with just soup and cups of water, no sandwiches. On a signal, the three saunter over to James Starling's table. Gang member MTA pretends to stumble, dousing James Starling with hot soup and water. The other two start shouting. The one near Mrs. Mickens spins around and grabs the knife before she can react. Several others join the fight. Gang member MTA has grabbed James Starling by the neck, holding him up to the wall, choking him. The one with the knife joins in, and as others are punching, choking, and slamming his head, he goes in for the stab. Once, twice. One of the study group kids sees an opening and does a running tackle, taking down the knife wielder at the knees. A girl grabs the knife as it skitters off and throws it in the trash bin. Several of the other students jump in. The lunch ladies have come out wielding frying pans. One hauls off and smacks the bottoms of several of the attackers, who were so shocked they momentarily stop. Principal Alicia Stern arrives furious with school security guards. They pull the dazed gang members off James Starling. He is bloodied, curled up on the floor, barely conscious. The principal looks enraged. She looks at the gang members, tells security to bring them to her office. At a gesture, the students and staff leave to wait in the hall. When they are nearly gone, she spins around, pointing at James Starling.
You son of a bitch, this is all your fault. I never asked for this. I had 2 years left to retirement, 2 years to a pension. All I had to do was keep things warm, keep these animals from burning down the school around their own ears. You had to stir things up. Goddamn criminal coming into my school, causing riots, destroying school property. They'll have my head for this. It'll be a media service. I'll be the incompetent. They'll fire me with cause. They'll have all the ammunition they need to close this school.
James Starling, dazed and bloodied, just looks at her. From the hallway, security guards William Dare and Vincent Davis burst in. Dare rushes to assess James Starling. Davis checks out the room, sees the blood and chaos.
I think he's got broken ribs, possible concussion, a lot of bleeding.
I'll call it in.
Thanks for the vest. I think he stopped the knife.
Well, not completely. You're still losing blood.
Do we know who was involved?
Yeah, they're in that room. All gang members. Don't worry, they'll all be expelled. The media will eat it up.
No charges, no media.
The three others stare at him.
Did you just say No charges?
Yes, don't expel them.
Once the report is made, they are standard procedures.
No report. Just an accident.
Look, Starling, there's more to this than you think. We're not supposed to leave. We weren't officially pulled back.
What do you mean? I got the call this morning ordering me to pull you off.
It was a ruse. There was no change in his court order, no official reassignment. That's why we came back.
Those bastards set me up.
Yeah, they set you up, they set us up, and I bet they set the gang up too. You'd be fired, we'd be fired, the gang would be arrested.
And James Starling would be dead.
No charges, no reporters, no media, no expulsions, please. Please.
He passes out. Medics rush in, bringing equipment, strapping him to gurney, putting an oxygen mask on him, checking his eyes for response to light. Interior hallway day outside cafeteria. The huddled students and teachers in the hall watch in tears as the medics rush Starling out on the gurney, unconscious. Dream sequence, exterior day park. James is seeing a memory as doctors and medics work over him. Jacinta Starling is walking with him through the park. It's a beautiful day, and in his eye, she and he are both sort of floating or gliding along. She turns to look at him, smiling warmly. She glances down at their hands, which are clasped. She looks back up at him, and he hears her thoughts in his own head.
James, it's always about the love. Remember that. No matter what, the important thing is the love.
As he looks at her, her face looms in for a closer and closer look, and finally he just sees her eyes. Then, suddenly, interior day operating room hospital.
No pulse. Get the paddles. Okay, clear. Okay, we have a pulse. Let's find the bleeder now.
As the surgical team continue their operations, the camera circles the table on which James is laying and then tilts up to a blurry ceiling with only the audio of the surgery continuing, with the beeping of the heart monitor loudest. This fades to quiet and darkness. Interior hospital room day. 2 detectives are standing by Starling's bed where he is swathed in bandages and has an IV drip. They are asking him questions.
Starling, your injuries show there were multiple assailants.
Also, from all the blood on the wall, your head had to be struck against it multiple times.
You must have seen some of the faces of those who attacked you.
I'm sorry, officers. I can't remember any of it. I don't think I can help you.
They look frustrated. One looks over at the security guard standing by the window.
How about you fellows? One of you is on duty at all times, right?
We're told to leave. When we found out the orders were wrong, we rushed right back.
In that short time the incident took place, when we arrived, everyone was gone except Starling and Principal Stern.
Principal Stern already told her she came in after the attack and didn't see anything either. She said she can't be sure who were the perpetrators.
Hundreds of students, teachers, and kitchen staff, but no one saw anything.
Sorry, I can't be of more help, detectives.
Look, off the record, whoever did this to you nearly killed you. Do you really want them walking around free, able to do this to you again or to someone else?
I wish I can help you. I know it makes your job so difficult.
Well, if you think of anything, here's our card.
Gesturing to the security guards for a private word at one side of the room, out of earshot.
We know this is BS. Can you give us a little hint here?
Following this particular trail would only end in tragedy.
What kind of tragedy?
You do the math. False orders, conveniently timed attack, blame placed on the guys on the ground.
So, power brokers pushing buttons.
Put it this way. The more you investigate this one, the more likely you'll be the next unfortunate victim.
Wow. So people with some serious juice.
Gotta be.
Why go after this guy?
He's the type they hate the most.
They all glance over at James Starling, beaten and bruised. They glance at each other, silently agreeing to something. Interior hospital room night. James Starling is sleeping, but wakens when his door opens. It's Principal Alicia Stern. She comes in tentatively, walks over to the bed. They stare at each other. She walks to the window, stares out. They still haven't said anything. Finally, she clears her throat.
So, no charges?
Yes.
The staff hasn't spoken either. Students too.
Good. Good.
The attackers, they seem to be very quiet. I think they're expected to be expelled or arrested. They're confused.
And how are you?
The question stops Stern in her tracks. She freezes, looks out the window, turns to make eye contact.
I'm confused too. I don't get you. Not at all.
She sits down in the chair, frustrated, thinking out loud.
Here you are, beaten to a pulp. You're stuck in a nowhere school, serving out some stupid sentence that, as far as I can see, makes no sense. I've treated you like crap. The systems treat you like crap. Students try to kill you, and you're worried about everyone else.
It's not a nowhere school.
Huh?
You're sitting on a gold mine.
What the hell are you talking about?
How many students are in the school?
Officially, 1,200 who come every day, about 900.
1,200 amazing kids, all with unlimited minds, capable of amazing feats. They just need to be unleashed.
Amazing? Unlimited? Have you looked at our test scores?
Test scores? Garbage.
That garbage is the difference between funding and closure.
There are no scores for who these kids are. Most of them are handling adult responsibilities.
How do you know that?
I listen, I watch, I ask.
Unfortunately, the Board of Ed doesn't care about those things.
They don't, but we can.
What do you propose?
Does it really matter what score someone gets? Each kid is unique, created to do great things.
Created? You're straying into the Bible territory, Starling. That's off limits to you.
I'm not in the school. I can mention God. These kids are talented. They're gifted individuals. Society sure didn't make them that way. So who did?
Well, we're in a public school. We can't discuss the divine creator.
We don't have to discuss.
What can we do?
We can pray.
You got the wrong person. I'm not religious.
Then don't pray. Just say what's going on in your heart, just in case someone might be listening.
Principal Stern stares at him. Starling smiles back gently. She looks down, frowning. Interior hallway day. Students are walking down the hall in between classes. Principal Alicia Stern is standing in the middle of the two lanes of walkers going in either direction. She is looking at the faces, listening to the things they are saying.
Landlord keeps hustling us, raising the rent. He won't fix anything, so we can't get hot water.
My pop's sick. They say he needs chemo, but he won't get the treatment. He thinks it's a burden on my mom.
My dad called last night, but it's just makes my mama cry. She said he's using again.
I want to try out for the team, but you need good shoes. And I can't ask mom for $100 shoes.
We were going to get a computer,
but then the refrigerator broke down. My pop says eating is more important, so no computer.
Interior principal's office, day. Principal Alicia Stern is looking out the window. She starts murmuring, just above a whisper, not quite a prayer, but it's coming from the heart.
If there is any way to help these kids to deal with their problems, to find support, to have a decent adult in their lives, to get some opportunities.
She starts scribbling this stuff down, making a list. Interior study hall room, day. The students are working quietly, another teacher at the front. Principal Stern knocks, confers briefly with the teacher who gathers up his stuff and leaves. The principal takes his place, nodding to the students in a friendly way. They continue to work a bit and then one raises his hand.
Is something going on, Mrs. Stern? Yeah, why are you here?
I just thought I'd like to know a bit more about what concerns you all might have.
Oh, you want to be a resource to us?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow, I thought you didn't care about students. I thought you were just supposed to stay in your office.
Well, of course, that's a logical conclusion you might come to. If I'm always in my office, it's natural to assume that it's my job. I guess I'm just thinking about changing my job.
You mean like quitting?
No, more like making my job more about real stuff and less about the numbers.
Oh, the test scores?
How did you know about the test scores?
It's all the teachers ever talk about. We're bad because we don't get good test scores.
Is that what you think?
That's what the teachers think.
That Mr. Starling. He thinks we're smart.
Yes, he certainly does.
Is he okay? I mean, is he coming back here? Or is he going to a school with better test scores?
Oh, he'll be back. The question is, will you have some good stuff to show him when he gets here?
Interior cafeteria, day. Students are eating online, getting lunch. A small buzz at the door. The buzz continues, heads turning. It's James Starling, still a bit bandaged, walking stiffly, but he's there. He proceeds up the lunch line as usual. Students are reaching out to him, shaking his hand, saying something to him. He gets up to the lunch line and a tray is already prepared for him. When he gets to the end of the line and the cashier lady, Mrs. Mickens, comes around and hugs him, tears are streaming down her face. His tray is picked up and set down at a table carefully. He looks. It is the gang member MTA who has brought it. The others who were part of the attack are in a loose line that he passes on the way to his table. As he goes by each, they look him in the eye, duck their heads, a silent acknowledgement. Interior hallway, day. A large poster is being put out on an easel. All school planning meeting today. All are invited. Interior cafeteria, day. Principal Stern is speaking. A number of faculty members sit off to one side, looking vaguely bored. Students are sprinkled around, as well as some of the lunch ladies, janitors, and James Starling.
I found out a very strange thing the other day. One of the students told me that they think all faculty cares about are the test scores.
Well, maybe not all we care about.
Well, that's a shock to me. I realize that I have fallen into the trap of believing we are measured by test results.
Well, aren't we? Isn't that what the school board, the state, the federal government keep saying?
Yeah, if we don't perform, we can be fired. Schools can be defunded.
Right. Exactly what I thought too. But then I realized it's not true.
Students and teachers are mystified. This is certainly not the typical thing they've heard in the past.
Our students are just as smart, maybe more so, than the kids that are in the affluent neighborhood or in that private school downtown.
Some people look doubtful.
How many of your students are working?
A number of hands raise.
How many of you are taking care of younger children or someone who's sick?
Other hands are raised.
Any of you cooking, cleaning, or bringing someone to the doctor?
Almost all the students' hands are raised.
How many of you share a room with a family member?
All raise their hands.
How many of you are living somewhere without water, heat, lights, or safety?
Many hands.
Any without a place to live?
A couple of hands are slowly raised. Everyone is sitting stock still, serious. Teachers, staff are absorbing the new information, glancing at the students, seeing them with new eyes.
I want to start something new here. I declare from this point on an end to test scores.
Takes a huge binder filled with documents many inches thick. She ceremoniously drops it into the wastebasket. A small buzz of shock and gasps.
No more test scores?
We have to comply with the legal requirements in order to qualify for.
Oh, we'll comply. Our students will still go through the testing, but that will not be our focus.
Teachers are looking uncomfortable. Students are looking incredulous.
I want to make our school about personal excellence in whatever goals, academic, family, career, sports, art, and all of you will design our new school.
Pointing to the entire room.
Teachers, students, custodians, kitchen staff, you're all on the team. Whatever supports excellence, I don't care what it takes, put it in there.
She paces.
Let's start with everyone's personal talents and strengths. Let's figure out how to help their homeland. Let's partner with others.
I can see a lot of issues that might come up, you know, with the unions, the ACLU, the Board of Education.
Can I say something? Why would these people want to stop us from becoming excellent?
Well, they don't, but the minute you start doing new stuff.
May I? I know I'm not officially a member of the school community.
That's not.
Okay. I guess I am. But what I wanted to say is, whenever people want to progress, there's a tendency for fear thinking to come. We've all been stopped by fear talk and fear thinking. Nothing is more powerful than people who are working together for a common good. So don't let the fear win.
The room dissolves into chatting and small units where people begin jotting notes and gathering chairs together. Exterior, school doorway, day. A new sign sits atop the school door. Mercer, choosing excellence. Students and faculty are walking in the door, looking purposeful. Interior hallway, day, several weeks later. Principal Alicia Stern is greeting students as they come in.
Good morning, Joseph. What's your goal today?
Good morning, Mrs. Stern. Today I'm giving the best presentation on the history of bridge construction.
Mr. Jefferson's class, I assume.
Yep, that's right. Third period. Hope to see you there.
On another part of the corridor, James Starling is greeting the students.
Welcome, Elizabeth. How's the family?
Much better. We got a new place to stay and we have water and heat.
Perfect. So much better for you all.
Thanks for making the call to that agency for us. It really helped.
He nods, pats her arm.
Mr. Johnson, how's the job going?
I got promoted from dishwasher to prep cook. $2 more an hour.
Proud of you.
My mom is too.
A bit further down the hall, one of the students sees the lunch ladies tacking up the menu for the week on the bulletin board.
Good morning, Ms. Nickinson. What goals do you have for today?
Well, we're shaking up the lunch menu, doing some new things with oven roasted root vegetables and a salad.
Sounds exciting.
Further yet down the hall, the coach, whistle around her neck, is waiting outside the gym door.
Good morning, Mr. Brown. How is the geometry coming along?
Ma'am, if you asked me, I could calculate the area of the gym floor, the height of the basket, or the angle of the player to the basket.
Son, you need to be on announcing team. I'll see you courtside.
Interior hallway day. In the now emptied hallway, we see changes on every side. Classrooms have exciting signs. Replacing the dull walls are murals painted by students. Interesting exhibits appear at intervals showcasing the projects of various students. The library, once locked, is open and filled with students looking for books, writing things down. Interior Principal Alicia Stern's office. The office has been transformed into a video and broadcast studio. The principal now works off a laptop in a corner. Where her desk used to be is a news desk set up with a set background. A camera is set up in front and 2 students are getting ready to do a broadcast.
In other news, our music and arts department has just been reestablished. Several students and teachers approach universities here for volunteer music teachers. Not only have several people offered, but we also got donations of used musical instruments. Congratulations to those who chose to develop excellence in music in our school.
Yesterday, 11 students and 2 teachers initiated a club called Math Magicians. Their purpose is to explore and unleash the power of math in the universe. If you want to master the ancient secrets that built the pyramids and navigated the wild oceans, join them on Tuesday afternoons.
Coach Bronson and Nurse Abadayo have a proposal to offer the school community. They are interested in creating a way for all students, faculty, and staff to reach their optimum health. If you have an interest in nutrition, fitness, preventative medical care, or physical excellence, join the planning meeting in the gym after school. Well, that's it for this morning. Thank you all for those who send us your news stories. We're choosing excellence in our communication. Your compliments are vital, and we want to share your stories with the larger community. Thank you all for all you are doing to make this a great place to grow.
They smile at the camera, waiting for the out sign from the camera person. Insert of the same broadcast on a laptop screen. A hand hits the space bar, pausing the broadcast. Harold Riggs, Peter Falcon, and John Prendergast are in a private conference room looking at the screen. Harold Riggs is furious.
What the hell? I thought this was a dangerous school. I thought we sent this guy to a hellhole.
It was the worst in the city, in the state.
We're not to blame. Look at the reports from 2 years ago. Rampant gang activity, violent incidents, open drug dealing, nearly 50% dropout rate.
And now it's a damn paradise. These kids are winning awards, getting prizes, beating out private schools.
The principal has changed too.
Last time I called, she had done a complete 180. She basically told me to stuff it.
Well, what are our options?
Options?
To destroy James Starling. I thought you guys had this under control.
I don't think we have any.
We were just lucky. No one found out we were the ones to pull the security guards and order the gang hit.
How about the media? Could we leak something to a friendly reporter?
Like what? A lousy inner city school gets transformed? That makes her look like a miracle worker.
Think of something. Cheating, discrimination, fire codes. I want this guy's head on a platter.
Boss, if I can ask, why is this so important?
Because it is. This guy needs to be taken down.
He glares at them, walks out of the room. They look at each other, shrugging a bit. Interior jail conference room day. John Prendergast and Peter Falcon are at the table. The same prisoner is brought in. They speak to him. He listens, asks some questions. They hand him a paper with information printed out on it. He asks some more questions. One of them writes down a phone number on it with his name. He shoves it towards the other one, who does the same. He asks another question, and they write down $10,000. He pockets the paper, goes to the door, and the guard lets him out. Interior cafeteria day. Security guard Vincent Davis is standing by the wall, relaxed. James Starling is at his usual table, but now there are a number of students standing around him, showing him papers, getting his feedback. Gang member MTA walks near the guard, dropping a piece of paper. He cuts his eye to the paper significantly. The security guard picks it up, sees a note to meet him. Exterior dumpster, day. The gang member MTA and the security guard are standing near each other, pretending to catch a smoke.
Listen, you know what happened the last time? The incident?
I remember.
Well, they're getting ready to do it again.
Details.
There's a hit on James Starling for a price, not just a free lawyer. Real money.
What kind of money?
10,000.
Do you know who's behind it?
Yeah, the guy they contacted.
Name's probably a fake.
Yeah, but the phone numbers aren't. Won't be.
You have the information?
Right here.
This is good. I'll take it from here. Don't say anything until I let you know.
Interior conference room, day. Harold Riggs, John Prendergast, and Peter Falcon are meeting. A phone call comes in to Peter Falcon's phone. He takes it, gestures to the others.
You want the money up front? Sorry, no can do that. What do you mean no one will work that way? Okay, all right, half up front, half when the job is finished. Wire transfer? We can do cash. Who will pick it up? Okay, you can send them to, all right, Athens Coffee Shop, 43rd, 9 p.m. tonight.
I'll bring the money there at 8:30. You guys do the handover and don't be obvious.
You got it, boss.
Interior coffee shop, night. John Prendergast and Peter Falcon walk in, spot Harold Riggs at the farthest booth. All are dressed in casual clothes, running gear jackets. They walk over, sit down opposite Harold Riggs. He has a shopping bag, plastic, with a die-cut handle that he slides over to them and they pocket. They chat a minute, then he gets up and leaves, coat collar up, hat hiding most of his face. A little later, gang member MTA in a hoodie walks into the place, orders something, looks around. Getting his order, he makes his way over to the table where they have set up tableware in an X formation to give the signal. He approaches their table.
Hey, can I get the salt?
This is the agreed on signal. They hand him the bag. He stuffs it in his pocket.
And don't mess it up this time.
All right.
He ducks out of the door. They get up and leave, keeping their faces averted from the staff. Exterior dumpster, day. We see James Starling hauling out some trash from the door, apparently alone. He gets to the dumpster where he opens the top and swings the heavy bag inside. Suddenly, gang member MTA pops out from behind the dumpster, points a gun at him and shoots, the shock registering on his body. He crumples to the ground as the gang member MTA stands over him.
Cut! Good take. Did we get that?
Yeah, we had 2 cell phones take it. We got 2 angles to pick from.
All right. Okay. Sending now.
Let's see. I like number 2. More shaky. Looks like someone is scared taking it.
Got it.
Well, hope they buy it.
Oh, they will.
Exterior basketball court, day. Peter Falcon and John Prendergast are standing near the basketball court, nursing cups of coffee. They are in windbreakers jeans. The gang member MTA comes by, looks at them and drops a sports bag next to them, moves away as if watching the game. They drop into it a similar bag of money, which he then picks up and walks away with. They walk off satisfied and relieved. Exterior basketball court, day. Unseen by the 2 lawyers is security guard William Dare in sports clothes, stretching out. His cell phone, propped up against his gym bag, has been filming the entire exchange. Interior conference room, day. Harold Riggs is sitting with John Prendergast and Peter Falcon. They are murmuring together, heads a bit closer than a typical business meeting. The door opens and all 3 look around surprised. The 2 detectives stand there with several uniformed officers behind them.
Mr. Harold Riggs, Mr. Peter Falcon, Mr. John Prendergast, you're all under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder with special circumstances.
The cops stand them up, handcuff all three.
How dare you? This is my place of business. Do you have a warrant?
Yes, sir. Right here. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney will be provided for you.
Call my attorney.
Oh, your attorney? Sorry, I've got to call my own attorney.
Me too. You're on your own.
Your attorneys can meet you down at the precinct.
Officers, would you mind escorting these gentlemen to their transportation?
They are cuffed and led out. Exterior, police precinct steps, day. The three perps are being walked into the station. Reporters and cameramen are clustered around them trying to get statements. Peter Falcon is trying to hide his face from the cameras. John Prendergast is in shock. Harold Riggs is arrogant and blustery.
Is it true that you put a hit out on James Starling? Was this the second time you had ordered him attacked? Did you use your influence to have him sent to Mercer High School? Have you ordered other deaths as well?
Shut up. No comment. No comment. Get out of my way, you blood-sucking leeches. This is an outrage. This is a political vendetta.
His attitude hardly endears him to the reporters who scribble down all his nasty comments. The cops let him dig his own grave, taking their time getting him inside. A reporter grabs security guard William Dare for a whispered conversation.
Off the record, buddy.
What's the question?
Is it a solid case?
Oh yeah, they're going down.
Aren't these the guys who filed the initial charges against James Starling to begin with?
Bingo.
So what is their beef with him anyway?
I don't know. I guess you'd need a really good reporter to look into that, wouldn't you?
Reporter stares as the guard turns, nodding back to him. Interior, courtroom, day. Assistant U.S. Attorney Angela Brandis speaking.
Your Honor, these individuals colluded with various individuals they believe to be criminals to attack and kill Mr. James Starling on 2 different occasions. They used their profession as attorneys to promise services to criminals behind bars in exchange for attacking him. They also offered and paid money for his murder.
Your Honor, these defendants are upstanding members of the community with deep roots and extensive ties. They're asking for bail and to have a chance to clear their good names.
Well, I'm inclined to refuse bail, as this is a crime of planning and deliberate manipulation of the system.
But Your Honor, if they have to wait in prison during their trial preparation, they'd be open targets.
An issue that didn't seem to bother them when they put Mr. James Starling in the same position. At that time, as I remember, they said he shouldn't be given preferential treatment.
But the 2 cases are completely different.
Well, yes, he was being accused of irregularities with his books and taxes, and they are charged with conspiracy to commit homicide.
That charge has yet to be proven, and they are presumed innocent until proven guilty.
As are all other people awaiting trial. The issue here is whether powerful individuals with deep pockets can manipulate the system when it benefits them. I believe that this may prove a lesson to these men. Bail is denied.
Riggs, Peter Falcon, and John Prendergast are stunned. It's clear they believed they would be granted bail and out on the street. In the back of the room, security guard William Dare gives a small nod to Assistant U.S. Attorney Angela Brand and leaves. Interior, classroom, day. Students are taking a test. James Starling is strolling around the front of the room. Security guard Vincent Davis comes to the door, knocks slightly. James Starling goes to confer with him quietly.
Bail was refused. All 3 are going to be guests of the state for some time now.
Well, they already have lots of friends there. That was where they found a connection for all the hits, right?
Yeah, but they're not going to find a warm welcome. Believe me.
Wasn't so bad when I was there.
Yeah, but a lot of those prisoners have family right here. They get visits from their kids. They want the best for them.
Oh, I hadn't realized.
Inmates want their kids to be safe, to have a better life than they had. Word in the prison is that you have helped the kids here, that you can be trusted. You may not realize it, but you have a lot of protection now.
That was unexpected.
Interior, Principal Alicia Stern's office. Stern is meeting with 2 students and a teacher.
Our cooking program just makes sense for our student body. It's a profession and they can use it at home.
We've involved the science department, the cafeteria staff, and the chefs from around the city.
But the budget is always the issue.
We have an idea for that.
The phone rings. Principal Stern motions to him to wait for a second.
Yes, this is Principal Stern. Yes, right. Oh, sure. Give me the results. Wait, sorry, could you repeat those scores?
Hangs up, staring numbly at the notes she has just scribbled.
Problem?
No. No problem. Excuse me, would you?
Montage, different locations in the school. Classroom interior, students and teacher in the middle of classes. Cafeteria with lunch ladies getting ready for service. Janitors in hallways, PE classes and gym. All activities come to a stop and pause as the following PA announcement is given. Interior, Principal Alicia Stern's office. Principal Stern is at the microphone making an announcement. She is staring at a paper.
Attention, all students, all faculty. This is Principal Stern. I apologize for interrupting your work, but I think you all want to hear this. I just received word from the State Board of Education. As you know, our school has made test scores a non-issue. We simply work for excellence in our various pursuits. Therefore, it comes as a great surprise to hear that our school's combined scores are almost double the same scores from last year. I want to congratulate all of you who have chosen excellence and who have worked hard in your respective goals. Not only is this a community of self-directed learners, but we've beaten the test system as well. Job well done.
Celebration is going on all over the school. Last seen is James Starling watching all the students' reactions, smiling quietly to himself. School exterior, day. A new banner hangs over the doorway. We choose excellence. The school is noticeably changed. Graffiti and dirt are gone. A sign proclaims community open house. Media trucks and neighbors alike are entering the doors. Interior hallway, day. Visitors are welcomed by students and teachers who are dressed up, well-groomed. Visitors are ushered around the school. In each room, innovative projects are being done. The arts class is creating murals. In the music room, a singing performance is taking place. Students show books they are writing. The video set invites visitors to sit and be on camera. The culinary arts students in aprons demonstrate cutting and cooking techniques. Several wait staff are presenting samples of the food to guests who enjoy them. Media cameras are catching everything. The tutoring program for the younger sisters and brothers is demonstrated under the banner, Each One Teach One. In the gym, fitness stations have been set up and students invite guests to participate in climbing ropes, dance activities, agility, strength training. Against one wall, the future medics team is taking blood pressure readings. Interior auditorium day. A panel of students, teachers, and administrators is on stage. Questions from the audience are being taken.
Well, I must say this is all very impressive, but I want to raise the question about the elephant in the room. Reverend James Starling is serving a sentence as a convicted felon and is banned from religious activities while here. Has he influenced what has happened here? Are these developments due to a breach of the separation of church and state?
For a minute, everyone is stunned. Faces react with anger, frustration, confusion, or coldly shut down. Then one student on the panel takes the mic and says,
To be honest, I have never heard the word God out of Mr. James Starling's mouth.
Murmur of agreement from the crowd, nods and reactions in the audience.
I have no idea what his religious doctrine might be, but he does teach by example.
Again, the students nod and show affirmation.
Our school probably has 100 different faiths or no faith, but here it's all about doing.
More nodding, more murmurs.
Mr. Starling shows his beliefs in everyday actions.
But should faith have a place in a public school?
It is a constitutional right, isn't it?
As you can see, Deshaun is choosing excellence in civics. I can personally attest that Mr. Starling has not engaged in religious speech in the school.
Mr. Starling, do you feel you were denied your religious freedom by the restrictions of your sentence?
James Starling has been sitting in the audience. Others turn to him. He realizes he has to respond. Someone passes him a mic. He stands up, takes it, and turns to the reporter.
I don't know what the original intention was in preventing me from talking about my faith, but my faith isn't about words. I'm free to live my beliefs, and that feels good.
So you don't want to teach scripture or recruit converts?
You're a journalist, aren't you?
Of course I am.
Okay, so when you report a story, what's your goal?
I guess to give readers accurate information on a given situation.
Great. We might call that excellence in communication, right?
Students respond. They resonate with choosing excellence.
Well, a minister tries to communicate too. So does a teacher, a parent, a student. It's all sharing information to help people.
Do you feel you were discriminated against by the nature of your sentence?
Maybe, maybe not. It's not important how or why I came here. Stuff happens. My only question is, while I'm here, am I doing my best to serve?
You're avoiding the question?
Oh, for heaven's sakes. You are ignoring what he said.
Stands up, takes the mic, and says emphatically,
God is in people. Faith is what helps us to serve each other. You may not know Reverend James Starling's faith, but we know his actions.
Pull back to TV screen. The entire discussion has just been broadcast with an end bite by the reporter to the camera.
Well, the tide of public opinion has certainly changed from that moment more than a year ago when James Starling was marched into this school in handcuffs. Today, there's a lot of respect for this convicted felon.
The broadcast now transitions to a talk show format. Various talking heads are in chairs. The host is a feisty provocateur.
So, does this cast the government's case against a local cleric in a new light, Jane?
It does. Last week, we found out that several of the people who brought the original complaint against him had manipulated the system, tried to get him killed, and used their influence to damage him.
I agree. The basis of the government's case was that funds donated to his ministry should have been considered his personal income. There was never a dispute that he mishandled the funds, just that he should have paid taxes on it, as if people were paying him personally.
I disagree. The government has to find sufficient evidence to prosecute, and considering the huge costs and lengthy forensic work that went into this trial, they would scarcely have proceeded if they didn't have just cause.
Really, John, I've spoken to tax experts who looked at this case, the government's case. They found it very thin indeed.
20/20 hindsight. At the time, they believed they had just cause to prosecute.
But what happened at the trial? A set of normal citizens were overloaded with a huge mountain of tax law, precedents, legal gobbledygook. The volume of material made it look much bigger than it really was.
Are you saying that this was a strategy?
It wouldn't be the first time.
Look, even if they genuinely thought he was not paying taxes, why not do what is normally done? Tell him he owes this much, let him pay a fine, bam, it's over. Charging and trying him as a felon, and then putting him into a school known for violence? That was like painting a target on his back and making him do laps around the firing range.
3 of his accusers are now charged with attempted murder. The school that was the worst in the city is now an example, a stunning example of educational and behavioral excellence. And everyone interviewed tells the same story. This guy is for real. What do you think? Go to our phone lines or comment on our website.
Interior study hall room day. James Starling is at the teacher's desk with a few kids, all focusing on a visual project they are creating. He's making suggestions. They are moving pieces around, scribbling notes, adding them to the board. Principal Alicia Stern comes to the door, whispers to him. He looks shocked, comes back to the group, but is a bit distracted. One of the kids asks him,
Are you okay, Mr. James Starling?
Think so. They say they're releasing me.
This doesn't seem to please him, however. Interior cafeteria day. The cafeteria is empty, except for James Starling, Principal Stern, and the security guards. They are sipping from coffee cups, nibbling on snacks. In the background and listening are some of the lunch ladies.
You must think I'm crazy, but I don't like this.
Then we're both crazy, because it stinks to me too.
Is this unusual?
Yeah, just a bit.
They are offering it as growth.
Which is another way of saying covering their asses.
Feels like I'm being played.
How do you mean?
The whole case, it just never made sense.
Yeah, I never asked you, what really happened?
Honestly, I have no idea. I was busy doing my ministry, and my wife got sick, and that took a lot of my attention. Suddenly, they start sending in investigators, checking our books, and then I barely looked at them. They were kept by volunteers. From what I heard in the trial, it went back 10 years and found a $10,000 donation from an old lady's will. She put it in my name rather than the church, so they said that it was personal income, even though it was just used entirely for the church's operations.
To hear the media reports, you were pocketing donations and living like a millionaire.
Yeah, I'd hate that guy too. I can't blame people for thinking I was a charlatan.
Well, we know Riggs and his crew had a dog in the fight, but they're out of commission now. So who else might have been involved?
I have no idea. But you know who might know? The Assistant U.S. Attorney, Angela Brand. I saw her face at the trial, and she looked like it was totally against her own will.
Let me see what I can find out.
Interior restaurant night. Security guard William Dare is chatting with the Assistant U.S. Attorney, Angela Brand. They are already deep in conversation. The meal in front of them seems largely ignored.
The whole thing was weird. I normally prosecute serious offenses, organized crime, that type of thing. I was ordered to do this instead of several cases that were much more serious. Also, there was way too much support for this, if that makes sense. You know, all kinds of specialists, experts, agencies producing reports.
So this isn't how things normally go.
No, our office is understaffed and underfunded, and we are extremely careful about jumping to conclusions. You know, contrary to what people think, we don't want to charge innocent people, and we don't want to get convictions without evidence of actual crimes having taken place.
But
this was like the total opposite. It wasn't, is there a crime, but what can we find to charge him with? And no one was worried about the cost in time or money. It was like, write your own check, but get this guy.
So how did Harold Riggs and his team fit in?
They were at most of the strategy sessions. They were insistent that he had to be stopped and that we should use a scorched earth approach.
Were there any other likely suspects?
Nothing I can say for sure, but let me tell you this. These guys all belong to a certain type. They cluster together, do business, socialize, cover for each other. I've seen situations where someone is in government, someone else in corporate, someone else in media, someone else in a charity. You think they were all totally separate and disinterested, but then something happens and they act like a well-oiled machine.
So Riggs and his crew might have been
The tip of the iceberg. Whoever is behind this, they are still very much in the picture.
So what do you think of this offer of parole?
I think it's one of two things. One, separating him from a power base in place of safety, or two, attempting to cover their own butts by silencing him or getting him to admit wrongdoing.
Okay. One, I get. He's got 1,200 people surrounding him who care about him, not to mention their mamas.
Some of those grannies, I wouldn't want to tangle with either.
And two, yeah, I can see that too. If this was politically motivated or even a personal vendetta, well, they don't want him being seen in a good light.
Yeah, from their point of view, the offer of parole might be a strategy to get him off the front pages and to shut down any uncomfortable questions being asked.
And it could also be a way to put him back in a place where he could be attacked. A halfway house, for instance.
Yep, this could also be a ploy to avoid a suit for wrongful prosecution. If they get him to sign what is basically an admission of guilt, they can say he freely admitted he did it in this parole agreement.
Yeah, that would fit.
It looks like a trap.
Copy that. I owe you one.
No, you don't. I've regretted going along with the case from the beginning. I get a lot to get it off my conscience.
Interior, Principal Alicia Stern's office, day. James Starling is on the phone as Principal Stern is standing by. Security guard William Dare is listening too.
Actually, I've decided not to accept the offer of parole.
He listens to the other side of the conversation.
I appreciate that. However, I'm satisfied with serving out my sentence here. Okay. Well, I'm glad you were impressed by the good reports you've heard. However, I have no need to change my status at this time. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
He hangs up.
How did they sound?
Panicky.
That's interesting. The cat's among the pigeons. Let's see what that starts.
Interior office, day. A reporter is there interviewing a press secretary he's been summoned to meet with.
This is all off the record, strictly background, you understand?
So a leak?
Potato.
Okay, what's the deal?
It's about James Starling. He's been offered parole, but he's turned it down.
Turned it down? Why?
Exactly.
Newspaper headline. James Starling says no to parole with the subtitle, "What is he hiding?" Exterior school, day. Principal Alicia Stern is being interviewed by the same reporter.
Do you feel keeping a convicted felon in school is a danger to the safety of the students?
The courts didn't think so when they sent him here more than a year ago. And didn't your paper report that he's helped make this a much safer place?
Why do you think he would refuse parole?
Maybe because he sticks to his promises.
Promises? What promises?
To help students reach their goals, to complete tasks and projects he started, to support parents and families in the community.
Wasn't this a sentence? I mean, wasn't it a punishment? Why would he want it to continue?
He doesn't see this as a punishment, but a chance to serve. Here's a guy who cares about our school, our community, and our families. He's found a meaning and a purpose here. Is it so surprising that he would want to continue?
So you're saying that he's gotten the desired result of this sentence? He's a model prisoner. Isn't that the point at which someone should be released?
When someone is choosing to serve rather than being forced to serve, he's already free. In fact, the parole that he was offered would reverse that. It would separate him from a community where he provides meaningful support to others. It would be conditional on him stating that the original charges were true, and he steadfastly maintained his innocence. Give the appearance of leniency on the part of those who use their influence to concoct charges, pushing the conviction and putting him away somewhere they thought he'd be killed.
So you're saying this entire thing was a witch hunt?
Your fellow journalists have already pointed out the weaknesses in the government's case and the fact that 3 of those involved were later found paying to have him killed.
Is this on the record?
Why not? It's all true.
Newspaper headline: Is parole deal a ploy? James Starling maintains innocence. Interior Press Secretary's office.
You son of a bitch. I gave you special access. You just made our office look like shit. No, you may not quote me. I won't go on the record. I won't comment on the conditions of the parole offer. I won't confirm or deny that. Print anything I told you, and you are dead. You hear me? Dead.
Interior newsroom day. Reporter B is just getting off the phone with the press secretary. He looks over to one side where reporter A and his editor have also overheard the conversation. They share a look.
I see what you mean. Go after it.
Exterior park day. Reporter B is feeding the pigeons. Security guard William Dare saunters up, sits down, pulls out a packed lunch bag and starts munching on a sandwich. Reporter talks to him in conversational tone.
How's he doing?
Holding up. Why'd you call?
Well, we've been piecing some things together. Did you know that your buddy served in the Peace Corps in a well-known, with a well-known affected official?
No. To be honest, he doesn't talk about himself much.
Seems they were on the same post for about a year.
And
that elected official has some pretty lofty goals.
so you think he wouldn't want someone from his past to be able to tell tales?
Well, through the Freedom of Information Act, we got some reports from the area supervisor with the names and specifics removed.
So how do you know what happened?
Well, we cross-referenced it with other events, local police and news reports, interviews with witnesses, hospital records.
Oh, so you guys do know how to get the facts when you want to. I'm impressed.
Hey, we sometimes get it wrong. Sometimes we trust, but we always verify.
And now you want to verify what you pieced together.
It could be a win-win.
I see how you would get confirmation of your story, but it might just paint the target sign on James Starling's back. In fact, if you're right, it already has.
Look, we've got to look at all the data. We've got it. The only missing piece is for him to actually make a statement.
Look, I know this guy. If he made a promise, if he signed a non-disclosure agreement, if he was told it would affect international relations or something, he won't talk.
But it would prove that these guys were out to get him.
I know. And man, I would love to nail these bastards. But I saw him refuse to identify kids who tried to kill him because it would send them into the system and destroy their chances for an education.
Then this is a dead end?
Maybe not. I'll give it some thought. You see if there's other ways to confirm it.
Exterior building press conference day. Senator
Thank you all for coming. I wanted you to be the first to know that I am jumping in to the race for the President of the United States of America. Thanks to my supporters and my well-wishers, I believe that now is the time for truly visionary leadership. And I plan to bring the successes that I've gained for our great state on the floor of the Senate to the Oval Office.
Cheers, placards being raised and lowered, etc. Reporters are clamoring to be recognized. He ignores reporter B and recognizes reporter A.
Senator, will your campaign be affected by your involvement in a drunken driving incident during your Peace Corps days?
What incident? Who are you? What paper?
Our staff investigation has identified you as the driver of a vehicle that killed a pregnant woman and drove off. Local police reports mention a drunken American matching your description, whose car had blood and clothing from the dead woman.
Kingman's face is frozen.
Preposterous. All those records were closed years ago. Do you have witnesses?
Actually, you were suddenly relocated from your original country of assignment, weren't you? Isn't that unusual practice?
Kingman is trying to formulate a response.
Senator Kingman, wasn't Harold Riggs your college roommate?
Yes, but that was a long time ago.
And didn't you work together after law school?
Yes, but I've worked with hundreds of lawyers. Riggs was just one of them.
And according to this photo, he was the best man at your wedding.
Yes, a long time ago.
But only 2 months ago, you wired $10,000 into his account.
Yes, I think he did some minor legal work for me. That was his retainer.
The date of the transfer coincided with his payment of $10,000 for a contract killing, didn't it?
How am I supposed to know the date that he took cash out of his account to pay some thug?
Silence, a pause.
How did you know it was cash?
Kingman is frozen, silent. So is the entire crowd.
And wasn't the target of that hit James Starling, who served together with you in the Peace Corps at the time of the incident?
I don't know James Starling. I don't know that name.
Kingman's eyes are shifting wildly. He's a drowning man.
You remembered his name in a private memo to the Justice Department. You called him a charlatan, preying among unsuspicious victims, and suggested he be investigated for tax fraud.
James Starling was convicted by a jury of his peers under the full due process of law.
So you do remember him, and he did serve with you in the Peace Corps.
Everyone makes some mistakes. It was one night, an error in judgment a long time ago, an accident. How am I supposed to be judged for an accident? Look at my record. I graduated from Harvard Law School. I served in both houses of the Congress. What has James Starling ever done? And if he gave you this information, then he broke a non-disclosure agreement.
The crowd of supporters is melting away. The reporters are recording everything. The aides are trying to escort him off stage. 4 uniformed police officers are waiting for him. And as he sees them, he stops, freezes, and looks wildly to the other side as if to escape the certain arrest. At that moment, a photographer snaps the photo, which then melts into newspaper page, photo and headline. Under the headline, The Kingman Affair Hit and Run, are photos of Kingman, James Starling as young Peace Corps buddies, photos of police reports and arrest reports, censored photos of James Starling's arrest and sentencing, photos of Harold Riggs, John Prendergast, and Peter Falcon's arrest, and diagrams of the money flow showing he ordered the hit. Interior, cafeteria, day. A celebration is going on. The lunch ladies have gone overboard, baking large quantities of cake that they are pressing on everyone. Streamers are everywhere. Handmade banners and signs are hanging up. Innocent, freedom, exonerated, James Starling for president, etc. Students, teachers, and staff, and some police and media folks are there. Parents have also come. No politicians are present, however. James Starling is overwhelmed with all the activity. Thank goodness it is winding down. He accepts a few more congratulations, a few selfies, and other photo taking, and lots of hugs. Finally, off to the side, he sits down with some of the detectives and the security guard, Andrew, and others.
So now, can we ask you, what did you know and when?
Honestly, I never put it together. Not in a million years. What happened during the Peace Corps? Kingman came home drunk and frantic, saying he'd be killed. I called headquarters. They interceded with local police, got Kingman out of there.
Looking off.
They made me sign documents that I wouldn't talk about it. Sounded like it was a matter of national security. It said if the local people connected the Peace Corps to the tragic death, there would be riots, terrible repercussions. They transferred us to different places and never heard about it after.
So you never thought Kingman might be behind all the charges and the government's case against you?
I never did. I knew he became a senator, knew he had money, but I was busy living life. It never occurred to me that he would think I was in danger, that he would think I was a danger. The whole court case was just a nightmare. My wife was sick, my staff were accused and scared. I kept expecting someone to just see how ridiculous it all was. I had tons of character witnesses, but they said it wasn't relevant. Then my wife died. I was just devastated. Nothing seemed real.
Detectives and security guard nod in recognition.
Kingman wanted to run for president, but he wanted to eliminate any skeletons in his closet. So he put the word out to the IRS that you were a tax fraud.
Yes, so. Maybe he thought if I were a convicted felon, no one will believe me, and if I ever mentioned the woman's death.
You know, Harold Riggs flipped on him. He's cooperating and will testify against Kingman.
Why was he taking orders from him anyway?
Kingman promised him all kinds of political prompts. Basically, anything he wanted. He didn't know the backstory, only that Kingman wanted James Starling's silence, like forever.
But how did you find out all that information? Especially about the money transfers?
Actually, I took some creative action. We found evidence that a Peace Corps worker was involved in a hit and run. We eliminated you as a suspect because it was unlikely you would want to silence yourself. That left Kingman. Kingman and Riggs were college roommates in the others' weddings and, each other's weddings, and they did some business together. Standard high rich, rich guy back scratching, if you know what I mean. That stuff about the bank accounts.
Because of the hit, we got access to bank records of Riggs. We traced the $10,000 into Riggs' account back to Kingman. Bingo.
We decided to spring it on Kingman when he wasn't expecting it in a very public setting.
If we did it privately, he'd get his team involved, do damage control, he'd shut it down.
We took a gamble that if we surprised him with the facts, he might confirm the story, and he did.
What made you pursue this?
Starling was just such a straight arrow. This level of attack made no sense. I thought maybe we need to look at James Starling's past and see if there's anyone powerful enough to pull some strings.
What was the tip-off?
Kingman's own bio. The Peace Corps is often a first step for ambitious people who want a political career. But when we checked his postings, we found these inconsistencies and a sudden transfer. So we dug deeper.
Would you two consider teaching a class to a media arts team on research techniques?
I was just about to ask the same thing.
Run while you still can.
But the journalists have already agreed, and Stern is shaking their hands. The deal is done. Interior day, study hall. It's a lovely day and everyone is relaxed. A note on the board says, final exams over. Good luck, everyone. James Starling is leaning against the board. Students are peppering him with questions.
Are you going to be here next year, Mr. James Starling?
Nah, he's been vindicated. He's probably got more important things to do.
Let me ask you this. When I came here, I was considered a criminal, a felon, prisoner. Am I any different than I was back then?
You were quieter.
No, not really. You're pretty much always the same.
But did your viewpoint of me change?
Sure.
How? When?
The minute you came in here and offered to help us, people don't do that if they're trying to get something from you.
I think for a lot of kids, it was when you got beat up, when you didn't press charges. That was really major.
For me, it was when you let me bring my sisters and brothers in.
You know, no matter where you go, you always find the same stuff. The guys who hate, the people who work hard, the people who care. It's always the same.
And how has this place changed? If the people are all the same people, why is it so different now?
It's because we changed. Something changed us.
You know when I think the change happened?
When?
When you guys realized that you could choose your dreams.
Is that what happened to you?
Maybe.
Exterior, roof of building, sunset. James Starling is outside looking over the horizon. The door to the school opens. It's Principal Stern. She comes over.
It's time.
I know. I just wanted to remember this moment.
You know, we've never talked about why you ended up here. Why didn't you have a lawyer? Why didn't you fight the case?
My wife and I met in Peace Corps. She's what I remembered from that time. And she was with me through my ministry. She was my rock. Her and my son, Matthew, he was following in our footsteps, joining the Peace Corps.
You both must have been so proud.
Yeah, we were proud and scared, like Black parents always are. And my wife was a fighter. You know, she could have gotten a lawyer, fought the case, probably found out what was behind it. Without her, it was just this big hole. It was like half of me was gone. Half my heart, half of my mind. The worst thing imaginable had happened to me. So anything else just seemed irrelevant.
Sounds like shock, maybe depression.
Yeah, something. I couldn't really feel anything, you know? In a way, this school was the remedy.
Oh, come on.
No, really. I wasn't really able to give sermons or comfort others. I couldn't make sense of why I was alive or why she died. I had no answers. What's a pastor without answers?
Human?
Didn't even feel that. It was all a blur. So coming here, looking at that long hallway of broken lockers, having something to work on was kind of healing.
Not some saintly act of penance?
Nope. It was like, here's something I can help. Make it just a bit cleaner, a bit better.
I was so angry. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
The good thing about being down like that, you can see everyone else is in pain too. And I saw you. I saw all the pain you were feeling. I looked at the kids and saw their struggles too.
That's why you didn't press charges when the gang attacked you?
Oh, hell. I've been watching those kids for months. Dad's in jail or dead or just gone. Mom's struggling to survive. Maybe an overworked granny, keeping them alive on scraps. I mean, beating me up. That was just them trying to beat back all the unfair stuff that was in their lives.
You saw all that?
Alicia, we both see this stuff every day. I saw the results in my ministry. Men in prison because they made the wrong turn. Women battered, kids neglected and lost because every adult in their lives is struggling themselves.
Honestly, I didn't see it. I saw them as losers. I thought I was above them, better, smarter.
Yeah, it's all part of an illusion. If I have some success, well, then others are just not trying. Being here, being broken, having nothing to prove, it let me see all the struggles. I could see that behind a lot of the attitude and behavior was something pretty great.
Potential?
Yeah, but also all the things they were already doing to help. Kids want to do their best. They want to take some of the burden. They were doing that.
You know, maybe there's something to this prayer and faith stuff. Maybe God did send you here. You opened my eyes. You changed this place.
Maybe. I know this place definitely changed me.
Any plans?
My son's coming home from his post. Spend some time with him. Maybe think about what's next.
Will we see you here?
More than ever. You know, you've created an amazing model here.
So I hear. Us and those kids and every one of those teachers and staff.
Don't forget the lunch, ladies.
God forbid they have me for breakfast.
Open the roofway door and descend the stairs.
You're getting that Most Improved School Award.
Yep. I think they're going to throw a parade for us or something. Maybe a statue of us in the park. What do you think?
I want one on a horse.
Swords are good.
She mimics pointing a sword towards an imaginary enemy on the horizon. A lunch lady has entered the stairwell and scoffs at them.
When you two poses are finished,
Interior hallway day. They emerge to see the entire hallway lined with students, staff, parents, and community members. James Starling walks the gauntlet and has people pressing on him a small gift, a card, a handshake, a fist bump, etc. He passes by the same security team and detectives that escorted him there a year and a half before. He gets almost to the end of the corridor, and the gang members who tried to attack him suddenly move to block his way. He pauses, waiting. They turn around, reaching inside their hoodies, turn back around, and don their graduation mortar boards. He smiles hugely and shakes hands proudly with each one. Suddenly, they toss them into the air, pick him up, and carry him out of the school, with the rest of the school pouring out and surrounding him, cheering. The cops smile indulgently. The media is filming it all. Camera pans from the joyous crowd up to the school's proscenium, where a huge banner proclaims Halls of Mercy, and James Starling, still atop the shoulders, raises both arms in a gesture of victory. Fade to black, the end.